Hey guys, this is Permanent Survival with William Macy, and today I'm going to talk about tarp shelters. Alright, so this is a poncho, and it's one of those ponchos where you can open it up and it goes nice and wide. And so in the middle we have the hood, and then it's unbuttoned, so I don't remember how long it is. It's probably about 7 feet long. And so what I've done is I staked the bottom down there and tied the brackets onto the tree. And this one is run up to this tree, and just put it at an angle so that way when it's raining, the water just slides off. So now it's not raining too bad here. So I wasn't making a total waterproof pouring down rain shelter. This is just like a drizzle. Don't want stuff falling on top of me or my gear. Because underneath I have a bivy sack, so I wasn't worried about getting wet. This will keep me dry. But this is just kind of more of keeping my gear dry, and I'm spending the night out here. And yeah, so I just wanted to test it out and kind of just get the feel of it a little bit, how it works. And this way I can put my backpack, and I can set it underneath it here, and it'll be dry over the night when it starts sprinkling again, or if it does rain a little bit harder, but I doubt it will. And yeah, so I'll just walk around and show you a little bit more. So yeah, we have it. There's brackets on the corners of this poncho, so I was able to use that with my paracord. And so what I did down here is I just brought it down and made sure that I took some stakes, pushed them to the ground, and slid the grommet through. Now, really, you would want a thinner stake that you could either slide through it, the grommet, and then so it's this. But I had a V, and I just kind of carved one of the V's, and slid the grommet through. Or you'd want a hook, and you can hook it. But this works good as long as you put it at the right angle and you're not putting a whole lot of tension on it. This isn't super tight, but it's tight enough where it'll do a good job. And I did the same thing here. You can see it a little bit better though. I have a stake, and then it splits off right here with the branch, and I just slid the grommet through, and then it goes up with the tarp. Yeah. So if you're going to do this in where it's a little bit more windy conditions, and I mean right here it's not windy, so but if you were going to do it with more wind, you're going to want to put this side at the wind, facing the wind, and you're not going to want to lip down here. You're going to want it right down to the ground. That way the wind can go underneath of it. But this is not a real good setup for wind. This is more just of you want a little bit more shelter if it's sprinkling, and it's not going to be pouring down rain, and you just got to do something real quick, not fancy. And so, if you're using a poncho, you're going to either want to tie up the hood and close it like this. You can tie it up, or you're just going to want to make sure that it's the opening is facing down, so that way when the water does come down, it's either just going to roll over the top of it, or because the water's not going to go up here, it's going to come around, and that hole's covered, so you should be okay. And the poncho's not that wet yet, so it hasn't really started raining, but I'm expecting a little bit more rain tonight. Yeah, so the difference between a poncho and a tarp shelter is there's not as many ways of a tarp shelter. Like tarps, you can use more ways than a poncho, just because ponchos usually aren't as big. They got less grommets in them. I mean, yeah, you can still tons of ways. You can do A-frames. This is like a lean-to. I mean, I'm sure you can do some other configurations. I just haven't messed around with it too much. But that's the two off the top of my head, is the lean-to and the A-frame. A-frame is just pretty much an A. You make an A with your tarp or poncho. You stake the sides or tie them down and then put a string through the middle. Which this wouldn't go all the way down in the ground, so you'd have to stake the top and then, or not stake the top, sorry. Put a string through the top and then tie one side down. That way you can still have room to go underneath of it. If you don't, it's going to be really close to the ground and you're going to be really cramped. But yeah, so I would say very good. They're multifunctional because you can wear them as a poncho, or you can use them as a shelter, which is really nice if you're going lightweight, because this will, I mean, take the place of your tarp and a little bit of rain gear, and it will cover your backpack like a raincoat won't. So this is definitely a nice piece of gear to have, even if you're primitive camping, which is what I like to do. But I still bring some gear with me, and this is definitely one I'll be bringing with me in the wetter months. But yeah, so a little bit of comparison is, so we have a poncho shelter here, and we have a tarp shelter here. And so this is a bigger tarp. I think it's 6 by 8, or maybe a little bigger. I don't remember exact dimensions, but you can see it has a lot more grommets on it. So you can do a configuration. This is like a lean-to with more of a overhang for more gear. But so this is you have the bottom, and then it goes back. It's weighted back there with a rock. It comes up over a rope, which is suspended from this tree to that tree, and you just lay your tarp over it, and then you bring it over, and you can either tie it up or put stakes on it like this, or poles. And yeah, so this will work in rainy conditions, as long as you have this part underneath the roof. If you have this sticking out a little bit, or maybe right lined up, you're gonna get water that's gonna hit this, and it's gonna go right into your sleeping bag and into you, and it's just gonna be a mess because the tarp will hold the water and it'll be horrible. So you want to make sure this is underneath your roof, so that way the water doesn't go in. And yeah, you want to make sure this isn't super tight, but what you usually do is make it tighter, and then so that way the water can run off either over here or down that side. You'd probably want it more to come over here over the string, so that way it has less of a chance of dripping off or spilling over onto your tarp. But this way is good if the ground's real wet and you have a little bit of wind, and you can use this in a downpour, which is really nice about it. But it's a tarp, so it's more bulky if you don't have a lightweight tarp, and so it takes up more space, and it's really only use is for shelter. You can't put it over you as easily as a poncho. I mean, you could wrap it around you, but you're gonna have a lot of stuff hanging down, and it's gonna be hard to move in. But besides that, a tarp is real nice. You can do a whole lot of shelter designs with it, which is real good for windy conditions, snow conditions, rain, just all kinds of weather conditions. So it's definitely a great piece if you're in like an extreme weather environment. But if you're not in a torrential downpour and it's the more of a not quite the dry season yet, not wet season in the middle, I would say a poncho would definitely be better if you're trying to go multifunctional, lightweight, and still have a tarp that you can sleep under or put your gear under. Alright guys, thank you for watching my video, and I hope you learned some good information about ponchos and tarps for the shelters, and thanks for watching.